Hi, this is the Project Spark Alphabet. I'm Lady Lex UK, and today we're doing the letter U. For my brain tile, I have chosen unequip, and for my prop, I have made an umbrella because there are no props beginning with the letter U. So let's start off with our umbrella today. As you can see, I've made like a patio umbrella. It's difficult to make an object that sits in a player's hand because an umbrella is held in a particular way, and you don't really want your umbrella held like a sword, and that really is what happens if you try to make an umbrella and put it in a player's hand. So if you want it so that he's going to wield it like a sword, then that's fine, it will work for you. Otherwise, I've made a patio umbrella to make it easy. Here is what it's made of. It's made of 2 mushrooms, a cannonball and an iron bar. It's a very simple mechanism. And here I've actually animated my umbrella, make it more interesting. There we go, it closes and opens up like so. So let's have a look at the code that I've used for the opening and closing umbrella. And you can use this for any object that you want to make it look different between 2 different states with a lever or a button push or whatever. This code will be useful for that. So let's look at its code. So first of all, I've set the pace of that lever's animation to 5 because it's a little bit slow and I wanted it like a flicking motion. So I've just sped it up a bit. You can experiment with that to get the speed that you want. When interacted, it's going to toggle the power. So if the power is on, it will turn it off, and if it's off, it will turn it on. And then it's going to play the sound of some air, and it will do that at the position of that lever. If you don't remember to put those in, you won't hear any noises. So remember to put the at position tiles in. When it has power, we've got if and else. So if it's got power, then the closed brolly part, the stacked eggs, are going to be visible and the canopy is not. Otherwise, when there is no power, then the closed brolly part is going to be invisible and the canopy is going to be true. I probably should have done it the other way around so that it's when its power is on, the umbrella is open, but I've done it this way. It doesn't matter. You can do it whichever way you want. So there you go. There's my code, and you can use that code, like I say, to create all sorts of switches and things. Maybe you could have something with a light bulb on it, and you just turn it on and off using that code there. So there we go. There is a patio umbrella, and you can use that as a mix. A nice little cafe in Project Spark. Okay, let's do the unequip part of our tutorial today. So here we have our player. I've given him a little backpack at the back there. He's got a little sleeping bag attached to his back. And we have a couple of weapons here. So I'm going to pick up that gun. Now, normally, if I went to pick up this sword, what would happen is the sword would get equipped and the gun would end up on the floor. But in my code, it's gonna put itself on my backpack, like so. Now, if I wanted to swap that, I press Y, and my gun is now on my back, and the sword is now in my hand. I press Y again, and both of them are now on my backpack. Press Y again, and I get the gun back. And we can toggle round for each of these weapons as we like. Right. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Right then. Let's have a look at the code and see how that's done. So first of all, I've got a backpack on attached to the back socket of my player. You will need to do this probably through the Character Studio attachments, but there you go, stick your backpack on. And I've attached my weapons in the position that I want them to be held. A copy of these weapons here. With no brain code in them. All the brain code has been taken out and they're just attached to my backpack and not my player. It makes it slightly easier for getting the positioning correct on the player. So there we go. Now in the weapons themselves, we're going to change the little bit of the code that says when interacted, equip me, or similar code. We take that out and we're putting this in. When not equipped and not attached and not held in inventory and you interact with it, the player's equipment count, if it equals 0, so if he's not got any equipment, then he'll equip me. Otherwise, he'll pick me up. And when it's held in inventory, then, so when it's being picked up, then that gun on his backpack will be made visible. Otherwise, the gun on his backpack will be made false. You could also add some code in here for collidability if you wish, to make the object completely invisible and completely non-collidable. It's up to you. I've just done it with visibility for this demonstration. And there's the rest of the code that is in the gun normally. So you leave that in. And I got a similar code in the sword. Exactly the same, except obviously when held in inventory, it's now highlighting the sword that's on the backpack and its visibility, visible or not visible, depending on whether it's held in the inventory. Right, the weapon swapping code is in the player brain. And we've swapped over so that instead of Y equals fire, we've put the right trigger in there. And when Y is pressed, it's now going to do various things. First of all, it's going to check if it's got any equipment. If it doesn't have any equipment when you press Y, then nothing is going to happen. But if you are holding a gun in your inventory and it's not equipped, then we're going to equip that gun. If you don't have that gun in inventory, it's going to equip whatever was last equipped, and if that is nothing, then nothing will happen. If you don't have equipment, we'll have an else statement. If the equipment is a gun, then we're going to unequip it to inventory. So when it says it's not got equipment, when it has equipment and that equipment is a gun, we're going to put that into the inventory, and we're going to say the last item that was equipped was the gun. Then we're going to check, do you have a sword held in inventory and it's not equipped? Then equip the sword. Else, if the equipment is equal to the Knight's Warrior sword, unequip it to inventory and say the last equipped was the Knight's Warrior sword. There's a lot of nested else statements in here. It's a bit hard to get your brain around, but make sure you get these in the correct way with the correct amount of tabs over, otherwise it's not going to work properly. So what we're basically saying is if you've got no equipment in your hand and you press Y, you first check to see if you've got a gun. If you've got a gun, equip it. If you haven't got a gun, check to see if you've got a sword. If you've got a sword, equip it. If you don't, nothing happens. And when you get down to you can put in more weapons in, so that you're going around in a loop before you get to the end. But this is basically it for 2 weapons. So you press Y, and it will swap the guns and the swords over. So there we go. There is our unequip code for putting weapons on your backpack and swapping weapons out between what you've picked up. Obviously, if you can use this code to we don't have to have it on his back if you don't want it to. That code will work just as well as just swapping from gun to gun without you carrying it around. But I think that's quite neat and quite nice. Right then, thanks for watching. I hope that's useful to you, and keep sparking.